Okay, Sahanaji, it's all yours. Handing you the control. Here you go.
Okay, thank you, Monica ji. So, we'll review the quiz at the end, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, can everybody hear me? Can you please type in the chat session if you're done with the quiz? Okay. So, namaste everyone, and welcome to the third lecture in Tridosha module. So, today we will be studying the last of Tridoshas, the Kapha, and its subtypes in detail. So, the Kapha is the last of the three doshas, but definitely it is not the least. All of the three doshas, they have their own importance in the maintaining the life. But when we say the names of the three doshas, commonly we follow the order Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. We don't tell it in a reverse way like Kapha Vata or Pitta Kapha Vata. Generally, the sequence followed is Vata is told first, then the Pitta, and Kapha is set in the last. The reason for this is the Vata is the dosha which is highly mobile, which has the property of mobility in the body. The Pitta is slightly mobile, and Kapha is the stagnant, most stable dosha of all three. This is one reason why Vata is listed first, and the Kapha being the most stable dosha, which is said in the last. And another reason is like Vata, which is having the property of mobility, it can get vitiated or it can get imbalanced very easily, and it can drive the other two doshas out of balance. That is the reason we get most number of Vata disorders. It's almost like 80 in number. When it comes to the Pitta disorder, it's like 40, and the Kapha, which is the least to get out of balance, we have only 20 disorders which can be caused by the Kapha imbalance. So this is another reason why Vata is listed first. It's almost like highest number of diseases can be caused by the imbalance of Vata. That is 80. For Pitta, it is 40. And for Kapha imbalance diseases, it's just the 20. So that is why we always say Vata, Pitta, Kapha. It's not that it is the last one and it's less important. All of them have their own importance in maintaining the life of a person. So today we'll look at the Kapha dosha in detail. So to start with the objectives, we'll start with the study of definition of Kapha. I believe whenever we study the definition, it helps us to understand the concept a little bit better by studying the definition. So first we'll look at the definition of Kapha, then we'll look at a couple of synonyms of Kapha, then we'll study why Kapha is important in the body, how it helps to maintain the life of a person. Then we'll quickly review the qualities and common seats of Kapha. This we have done in the previous classes, that's the Ayurveda 101 module. We'll just quickly go over that and try to recollect those points. Then we'll study the subtypes of Kapha in detail, including their names, their location, their specific functions in the body, etc. Then we'll study the general causes for Kapha imbalance. And finally, we'll look at the very general protocol for correcting the Kapha imbalance. So we'll go through each of these points one by one in detail. So to start with the definition, the word Kapha is defined as Kena Jalena Phalati iti Kapha. Here the root words are Jala and Phalati. So Jala is the water element and Phalati is the fruit or the production or the ultimate result is called as the phala. So the sutta can be literally translated as the one which is formed by the predominance of water element, Jala Mahabhuta, is called Kapha. So by looking at this definition, it looks like it's a little bit confusing, or it looks like a little bit partial, because by now we all know that the Kapha dosha is formed by the combination of the two Mahabhutas, the water element and the earth element. But in this particular definition, they are only talking about the water element, the Jala Mahabhuta, and they say that the one which is formed by the predominance of water element is called Kapha. So why they are letting the earth element out? What is the reason for that? So when we look into the second definition, it becomes a little more clear why they are giving much more importance to the Jala Mahabhuta than the earth. The second definition, it's about the term Shleshma. Shleshma is another word for Kapha. In many of the Ayurvedic texts in different contexts, the word Shleshma is used for the Kapha. So this word Shleshma is defined as Shlish Alingane iti Shleshmaha. Here the root word is Shlish, so which means that Alingana, which is having the property of embracing, which is having the property of hugging, or which is having the property of binding, is called Shleshma. So the literal translation of the sutra is the word Shleshma is derived from the root Shlish, which means the factor having the embracing or binding property. So the factor which keeps excuse me. So the factor which keeps the body structure together by its embracing or cohesive property is called Shleshma or Kapha. So when we look at these two different definitions, the first definition talks more about the composition of Kapha, how the Kapha is composed, or how the structure of the Kapha, how the Kapha is formed. But the second definition about the word Shleshma, it talks about the property or the cardinal feature of the cardinal characteristic of the Kapha, that is the binding property, that is the cardinal characteristic property of the Kapha dosha. So with the help of this second dosha, we can justify, with the help of this second definition, we can justify the first definition. How? So it says that the cardinal feature of the Kapha is a binding property. So out of these two Mahabhutas, the Jala Mahabhuta and the Prithvi, the earth element, the Jala Mahabhuta is more concerned with the binding property. So just take an example of the flower. So the flower represents the earth element. So if you try to make a ball out of the earth element and the flower, is it possible? No. But if we mix the flower with the water element and knead it into a dough, so then if you try to make it into a ball, then you can do it. That is because the water element, it brings out the sticky property which was present in the flower. That's the earth element. So it's basically the Jala Mahabhuta or the water element which makes the earth element sticky. Or you can take one more example. Just imagine a bunch of hair is lying on the floor. So the hair is like more earth element. So if you try to pick up that hair with a dry hand, you can easily do that and put it in the trash. Suppose imagine your hands are wet with the water and you try to pick up that bunch of hair and try to put it in the trash. What will happen? It will stick to your hands. That is because of the presence of Jala Mahabhuta. So it is the water element which gives the main characteristic of the Kapha, that's the binding property, and that is the reason why they are concentrating more on the Jala Mahabhuta in the formation of Kapha. No doubt, earth element is also present in the Kapha along with Jala, but it is the water element which gives the main property of the Kapha as a binding or the embracing character. So that is why they define Kapha as Kena Jalena Phalati iti Kapha, and they define the Shleshma as the Shlish Alingane, the one which has the binding property. So this is a very important character of the Kapha which helps to maintain the integrity of the body. So let's make an attempt to understand what is Kapha little bit in detail. So Kapha is the bioenergy of cohesiveness, or it's the bioenergy of binding. In the previous two classes, we have seen that the Vata is the bioenergy of transportation, which helps for the all sorts of movements in the body. Similarly, Pitta is the bioenergy of transformation, which helps for the conversion of either food or the emotion from one form to another form. It transforms. Similarly, the Kapha is the bioenergy of cohesiveness or binding. This bioenergy helps to maintain the structural and functional integrity of the body. It holds all the structures, different organs and different bodily structures in their normal anatomical position. So without Kapha, the organs wouldn't be able to stay in their normal positions. The heart might have slipped from its original place, the lungs, etc. can be slipped out of its place in the absence of Kapha. It is the binding nature of the Kapha which holds all the structures in their normal anatomical position. So by doing that, it provides the integrity or the compactness to the body. It is formed by the combination of the water and the earth element when we consider the Panchamahabhuta theory. So it has all the Mahabhutas in it, but it is formed by the predominance or the combination of water and the earth element. And in the body, it manifests as dhatus, mucus secretions, etc. So the dhatus represents the structural elements of the body, and they are represent the earth element, whereas the mucus secretions, which are liquid in nature, they represents the water element in the body. So that's about the Kapha. Then let us look at the importance of Kapha. I said, though it's said in the last, it is also very important in the maintenance of the life. So what Ayurvedic scholars say is Prakritastu balam shleshma vikruto mala uchyate. So this particular sutra means that when the Kapha is in normal or the Prakrita avastha, normal state, it is considered as the bala or strength of a person. For very same reason, the word bala is sometimes used as the synonym for Kapha. So in the previous slide, we have seen that Shleshma is one of the synonym for Kapha, and another synonym for Kapha is Bala. So the word Bala, or it's literally translated as a strength in English. So it can be interpreted in two ways. The Bala can be of two ways. It can be the work doing capacity of the person, or it can be said as the stamina or the physical tolerance of a person. And also it can be the capacity to resist the disease and decay. So when the Kapha is in the normal stage, when the Kapha is in the Prakrita avastha, the person can resist the disease. So and he can resist the decay. And that is why the decay and degeneration process is slower in the Kapha Prakriti person than in the Vata and the Pitta Prakriti. So whenever we say the Kapha, Prakrita Kapha is Bala, we can consider it in both ways. The physical ability of the person to do work, or it can be considered as the capacity to resist the disease and the decay. So the essence of Kapha is considered as the Ojas. Ojas is one of the important concepts in Ayurveda. So about this Ojas we'll study a little bit detail at the end of today's lecture. So just for now, remember that the Ojas is the essence, the micro extract of Kapha dosha. It is considered as the finest, the refined form of the Kapha, and it can be said as the Ojas. It is essential for the sustaining and protection of the body, sustenance and the protection of the body. It is the sustaining and protecting factor of the body. That is why, since the essence of Kapha is considered as Ojas, which protects the body, Kapha is considered to be very important for the maintenance of life. So then we will move on to the qualities of Kapha. This we have already studied, just we'll go through quickly. This sutra is taken from Charaka Samhita Sutra Sthana, first chapter, 60th sutra. It says that Guru Shita Mradu Snigdha Madhura Sthira Pichilaha. Kapha has the combined attributes of water and earth element. So if you remember from your previous lectures, the 20 opposing gunas, and if you remember what are the attributes of water element, and if you remember what are the qualities of earth element, if you combine those two, you can easily get the qualities of Kapha. That is why we said those are the basic things we always have to remember: the 20 gunas, the Pancha Mahabhutas, and the relation between the 20 gunas and the Mahabhuta and the doshas, etc. So if you are very thorough with that, no need to remember the qualities of Kapha. If you just remember the qualities of water and qualities of earth, if you put them together, you will get the qualities of Kapha. Anyway, here the qualities of Kapha, they say it is Guru or heavy. So the heaviness of the Kapha is by the earth element, and it manifests in the body in the form of bulk or the weight of the body. The cold properties by the water element. So it manifests in the body in the form of the cold extremities. The Kapha Prakriti person always they feel cold, they will be highly sensitive to cold intolerant, we can say. Even slight drop in the environmental temperature, they feel miserable, they cannot tolerate the cold weather or the cold temperature. In that form also it manifests in the form of the mental status. The person with the Kapha Prakriti, they will have cool and calm mind. They don't get excited, or though they don't get irritated very easily. They will try to keep calm and quiet. So that's how the cold property of the Kapha manifests in both body and mind. The smooth qualities by both the water element, and it is manifested in the body like in the form of the smooth skin, the smooth nails, hair, etc. And also internally the smoothness of the GI tract, the mucosal membrane, etc. They are the manifestations of smooth qualities of Kapha in the body. The oily character is manifested in the form of oily skin, oily hair, and even the oiliness of the internal organs, even the oiliness in the joints where the synovial fluid is secreted. Those manifestations are the oily characters of the Kapha. The stable character, the property is mainly related with the earth element. Earth, among the 5 Mahabhutas, the earth is the most stable element, and the stable property of Kapha is related with the earth element. It is manifested in the form of the physical and mental stability in the body. The slippery, This is the quality of the water element, and it manifests in the form of the slippery nature of the mucous membranes inside the body. And the last character is it's sweet in taste, and this sweet in taste, it's manifested in the form of a sweet taste in the mouth, or also it is manifested in the form of the sweet stage of digestion. The digestion is divided into 3 stages: the Madhura, Avastha, Phaka, Amla, and the Khatu. So the first stage of the digestion is the sweet stage of digestion, and the kapha property. The sweet taste of kapha is manifested in the sweet stage of digestion, or it can be manifested also in the form of the sweet taste in the mouth, especially when the kapha is highly aggravated, when the kapha is highly increased in the body. Sometimes we might feel the sweet taste in the mouth. That is the manifestation of sweet quality of kapha in the body. So then the general sites of kapha: the thoracic region, it is called as the urus, the chest area where the important vital organs are situated, like heart and lungs. That is one of the sites of kapha. The head, the shiras, where another important organ is situated, is the brain. Then the next site is considered as the neck. That's the khanta, the throat area. The joints, the sandhi, all the major and minor joints of the body. The upper part of the stomach, the adipose tissue, that's the medo dhatu. Then the tongue, that's the jivha, and the nose, grana. So these are considered as the general sites of kapha. So what kapha does here in the thoracic and the head area is it lubricates and it maintains the moisture level. It lubricates the vital organs like heart, lungs, and the brain. It nourishes them because the kapha is the nourishing factor of the body. It nourishes the vital organs in this area. The neck is because the main seat of the kapha is considered as the urus or the chest region. So it's also present in the neck area, where it can be considered as the esophageal secretions, which helps in the digestion. And one more thing, which we can say why it's in the neck, because when the kapha is like excessive, we feel like kapha is getting blocked in the neck area. That is because the neck is one of the sites of kapha. The joints, in the joints it manifests as the synovial secretion, which helps to lubricate the joint, and also it helps to hold the bones. So what happens in the joints? How joints are formed? They are formed by the union of 2 or more joints. Joint is 2 or more bones. Joint is the place where 2 or more bones meet together. So these 2 or more bones, they should be held in position together. They should be binded together to form a joint. So that function is provided by the kapha dosha, and also the lubrication is provided by the kapha dosha at the joints. In the upper part of the stomach, so it is situated in the amashaya, and this helps for the lubrication of the GI tract and also for the digestion. It is also present in the medo dhatu, the adipose tissue, the fat tissue of the body, because the fat tissue, we know it is like oily, it is slippery. All those characters, all those features match with the qualities of kapha. Hence, kapha resides in the adipose tissue too. Then it also resides in the tongue and the nose. So why? How can we substantiate why it resides in the tongue and the nose? So from your Sankhya module, if you remember the relation between the Panchamahabhutas, the Tanmatras, and the sense organs. So we know that the kapha is derived from the Jala, water, and the earth element. So what is the Tanmatra for the water element? Can anybody remember from the Sankhya module and type in the chat session the Tanmatra for the water element? So it is rasa. Tanmatra are the subtle form of the Panchamahabhutas. The subtle form of water element is rasa or the taste, and the organ which is concerned with the taste perception is tongue. So since Kapha is related with the water element and its Tanmatra is rasa and the rasa is related with the tongue is considered as one of the important seats of Kapha. Similarly, the nose of the grana. So the grana is related with the gandha, that is the smell tanmatra, and the smell is related to the earth element. So earth is one of the elements which is forming the kapha. So earth, the mahabhuta, the tanmatra is gandha, that is the smell, and the smell is related with the nose. The perception of smell is done by the nose. That is why the nose is considered as the site of kapha too. So these are the general sites, the important sites told by the acharyas. But as we already studied in the previous classes, kapha can exist from the microscopic, the microcellular level to the gross level. So each and every point we can find the kapha. Wherever there is a presence of the water and the earth element together, we can consider it as a kapha. For example, if you take a cell, the solid structures present inside the cell, maybe mitochondria or Golgi apparatus, all those structures can be attributed to the kapha. And even in the gross level, all the bodily structures like the muscles, the bone marrow, the adipose tissue, etc., can be attributed to the kapha. All those can be considered as the seats of kapha. But for the understanding purpose, these some of the important sites are listed as the general sites of kapha, and among them the upper chest area is considered as the main seat for kapha. Similarly, for pitta, the nabhi or the peri-umbilical area is considered as the main seat, and for vata, the lower part of the core, the lower part of the trunk, that's the colon, is considered as the main seat. So for vata, it is colon. For pitta, it is the peri-umbilical area, and for kapha, the main region or the main seat is said to be the urus or the chest region. So this is about the general seats of kapha dosha. Then let's look at the general functions or the karma of the kapha when the kapha is in the normal state. General functions of the normal kapha. It provides oiliness or lubrication to the body structures, both externally and internally. So the lubrication in the form of the lubrication to the GI tract. So the kapha which is present in the GI tract lubricates the entire alimentary canal. So if the lubrication is not there inside the alimentary canal, if the kapha is decreased, there is no lubrication in the alimentary canal, what happens? The GI tract becomes dry, the vata becomes high, and the person might suffer from constipation and other high vata problems. Or the lubrication can be seen in the form of lubrication of the eyes, the lubrication of the ears, or even in the form of the oily, soft, smooth skin, etc. So that's how the kapha provides the oiliness or the lubrication. And even in the joints, it provides the oiliness or lubrication necessary for the smooth movements of the joints. It acts as a binding agent and maintains the structural integrity of the body, as we already studied in the previous slides. So it helps to hold the different structures in their normal anatomical position. It acts as a cementing material. Suppose, just imagine the body without the kapha. All the bodily parts will be like loosely arranged and they can slip out of their place. Suppose if you are putting tiles on the floor, so we need something to bind it or hold it to the floor, right? So we use the cementing material or the binding material in between the tiles. Similarly, that function in the body is done by the kapha. it cements or it holds the structures together to give a definite shape and size to the body. It gives stability, both the mental and the physical stability to the body. It helps in stout build of the body, and also it helps to promote the bulk of the body. Kapha, because of the presence of earth element, which is the grossest of 5 Mahabhutas, it can give bulk and stout build to the body. That is why if a person wants to gain the weight, a highly vata person or person is emaciated due to any other chronic illness or due to any other reason, if they want to gain weight, if they want to promote the bulk of their body, then the kapha increasing diet and lifestyle is advised to them. The the sweet, sour foodstuffs, the cold, the oily foodstuffs, etc., are suggested to increase or to promote the bulk of the body. And it maintains the sexual potency and reproductive capacity of a person, because the Shukra Dhatu, the seventh Dhatu of the body, which is concerned with the reproduction, it has almost all the same qualities of Kapha, like cold, sweet in taste, the heavy, etc. All those qualities of Shukra Dhatu, which determines the sexual ability of the person, is almost similar with the qualities of the Kapha dosha. That is why the Kapha Prakriti person, they'll have high sexual potency and they'll have the high reproductive capacity. So that is another function of Kapha dosha. And also it provides bala or strength to the person. The bala is both work doing capacity and disease or decay resisting capacity of the person. And as far as the mental factors, mental functions are concerned, it promotes the forbearance capacity and courage in case of pain and crisis. The Kapha Prakriti people, they will have high tolerance to pain. So on the scale of 0 to 10, if the Kapha Prakriti person is having like 7 to 8, still they can say, okay, it's a manageable pain. They don't get panic. They don't get overwhelmed with the condition. So whereas on the other hand, if a Vata person, if the person is of Vata Prakriti and if he's having like 3 to 4 out of 0 to 10 scale, if he's having the 3 to 4 level of pain, they'll say, oh, it's too much hurting, I cannot take it, can you do something, please help me, like that. They'll be screaming and shouting. So because they'll have low tolerance to the pain. On the other hand, Kapha being very stable, they have high tolerance to the pain and they can handle the crisis very well, though they don't get panic, they don't get excited by the situation. They try to be calm and quiet. They try to think uh, very well, and they try to conclude at a solution. They try to come at a solution to solve the problem. They don't get panicked by the crisis or the emergency situations. And also one more thing, they'll have the high forbearance capacity. Mentally they'll be kind and they'll be generous, they'll be caring, and they will have the quality of forgiveness. If somebody does some mistake, they can forgive them and let go, but not with the Vata and the Pitta type of person. So these are the different physical and the mental functions of Prakrita Kapha dosha. Then we'll move on to the subtypes of Kapha. Just like Vata and Pitta, the Kapha dosha is also divided into 5 subtypes based on their specific site and based on their specific function. The names of the 5 subtypes of Kapha are Bodhaka Kapha, Avalambaka Kapha, Kledaka Kapha, Shleshaka Kapha, and Tarpaka Kapha. So each of these subtypes have their own location and their own specific functions. This flowchart will briefly say about the sites and functions of each subtypes of Kapha. Tarpaka Kapha, it mainly resides in the upper part of the body, that's in the head region, and it is responsible for the moisture of nose, mouth, eyes and brain. The Bodhaka Kapha, it resides in the mouth region in the form of saliva. It governs the sense of taste and it is essential for the good digestion. The Kledaka Kapha, it resides in the upper part of the stomach. It controls the moisture of the stomach and it maintains the moisture of the intestinal mucosal lining too. The Avalambaka Kapha, it resides in the chest area, the thoracic area. It resides in the lungs and the heart. It protects the heart and the lungs. It gives protection to the vital organs and it provides the strong cardiac muscles. The Shleshaka Kapha, it is present in all the small and large joints of the body. It lubricates the joints in the form of synovial fluid. So this is briefly about the 5 subtypes. So this table tells the subtypes of Kapha. The second column tells about their location and the third column tells about the functions of the subtypes of Kapha. The first one is the Bodhaka Kapha. It resides in the mouth region. So classically they say it resides in the Jivha and Khanta. That is the tongue and the throat area where mainly the saliva is secreted. So there are 3 different pairs of salivary glands in the mouth. If you know the anatomy, the parotid, submandibular and the sublingual. 2 pairs lie below the tongue and 2 lie at the angle of the mandible and the 2 are the parotid which lies on the posterior aspect. So these 3 pairs of salivary glands, they secrete the saliva. So that's why they say the site is in the tongue and also in the upper part of the throat area, the Khantar area. The function of Bodhaka Kapha, it helps for the perception of taste. So the Bodhaka Kapha, the taste is perceived in the mouth with the help of the taste buds. But for the taste buds to work, the food should be completely moistened and it should be in the liquid form. So that moistening of the food is produced by the Bodhaka Kapha. So whenever we eat the food, the Bodhaka Kapha in the form of saliva, it mixes with the food and helps to form a bolus. When the food is moist, the taste buds, again with the help of the Bodhaka Kapha, will perceive different tastes of food, and then with the help of the pranavata, the pranavayu, the taste is appreciated in the brain. That's how Bodhaka Kapha helps for the perception of taste, and also it helps for moistening of the food that we already seen. And another important function of Bodhaka Kapha is it initiates the process of digestion. The digestion begins in the mouth. So as soon as we put the food in the mouth, the Bodhaka Kapha moistens the food and it contains an enzyme called amylase. It starts breaking down the polysaccharides into simple sugars. So the process of digestion starts in the mouth with the help of the Bodhaka Kapha. When this Bodhaka Kapha goes out of balance, if the Bodhaka Kapha is less, it is decreased, then the person might have experienced some of the symptoms like dry mouth or lack of taste, or he might not be able to appreciate certain particular tastes, etc. On the other hand, if Bodhaka Kapha is increased, then person might have like excessive watering of the mouth, excessive salivation, and excessive sweet taste in the mouth, etc. So those are some of the manifestations when Bodhaka Kapha is increased in the mouth. The second subtype is Avalambaka Kapha, and it resides in the chest area or the thoracic region, and its main function is to protect heart and lungs. So the heart is covered by like the two membranous layers that called as pericardium. So in between these two layers of pericardium, there will be pericardial fluid. That mucous fluid, the pericardial fluid, can be considered as the avalambaka kapha. Similarly, in the lungs is also covered by two layers of membranes that are called as pleura, the parietal and the visceral pleura. So in between these two layers of membranes, there will be pleural fluid. So that pleural fluid can be considered as the avalambaka kapha. The main function of this pericardial and the pleural fluid is to lubricate these two organs. So it maintains the moisture and the lubrication of the heart and lungs. And also another important function is that these fluids, they act as shock absorbents. So if there is any heat on the chest area, these fluids, the pericardial and the pleural fluid, they act as a shock absorbent and they give protection to the heart and the lungs. That is the main function of the avalambaka kapha. That is why in Sanskrit they said Hrit avalambana. It maintains the heart. It protects and maintains the heart and the lungs. So if this avalambaka kapha becomes excess, then there will be excessive secretion of the pericardial and the pleural fluid, which results in the edema of that area. And if the avalambaka kapha is low, the pericardial and the pleural secretions will be low. Then the heart and lungs can be directly prone to the shock effect by the trauma or the injury. The protection will be reduced and they become less lubricant, they become dry, more dry in nature. And that is the effect of increase or decrease in the avalambaka kapha. The next is the kledaka kapha. Kledaka kapha resides in the upper part of the stomach or the amashaya. So the main function of the kledaka kapha is to support the digestion along with the pachaka pitta and samana vata. In the previous two classes we studied that the pachaka pitta is also present in the amashaya, that's in the lower part of the stomach, and the upper part of the small intestine, that's the duodenum, and also the subtype of vata, that's the samana vata, is also situated in the stomach. So this kledaka kapha along with pachaka pitta and samana vata helps in the digestion of food. So it moistens the ingested food and helps for the liquefaction of food. When the food is liquefied, it becomes more easy for the digestive enzymes to act on the food. So the kledaka kapha mixes with the food, moistens, liquefies it, and makes it into a bolus. So that is the main function of the kledaka kapha. It also has some other functions, like it protects the gastrointestinal mucosa. We know that throughout the GI tract, different secretions are produced. For example, in the stomach, the gastric juice, the gastric acid is produced. It is highly acidic in nature and it can penetrate or erode into the gastric mucosa, causing the ulcer. Whereas this kledaka kapha, the mucus secretion, it provides the protective layer against the gastric mucosa and it protects the mucosa from the damage by the gastric acid. So if this kledaka kapha is low in the stomach area, then the gastric acid will directly come in contact with the gastric mucosa, resulting in the formation of ulcer. That is when we get the gastric ulcer or other conditions, the peptic ulcer, etc. That is one protection. That is another function of kledaka kapha, protecting the gastric mucosa against the gastric secretions, various secretions of the gastrointestinal tract. Another function of kledaka kapha is it controls the moisture level in the GI tract. So we know that the kapha is like the water and the earth element. It is the mucus secretion. So if the kledaka kapha is secreted in the normal quantity, as we already said, it maintains the proper moisture level of the GI tract, and it helps for the proper peristaltic movement. So if the Kletaka Kapha is low, the GI tract becomes dry and the movement of the food is hampered. If the Kletaka Kapha is secreted too much, then the Kletaka Kapha will dilute the digestive fire and it impairs the digestion. So if it is high, it causes the mandagni, or if it is low, it causes the dry GI tract, resulting in the constipation and other vata related conditions. That's about the Kletaka Kapha. Next is the Shleshaka Kapha. Shleshaka Kapha is present in all the joints, the small and large joints of the body. So it can be compared with the synovial membrane and the synovial secretions. So the main function of this Shleshaka Kapha is it maintains the integrity of the joints. So it helps to hold the bones together in position to form a joint. So various structures can be tendons or ligaments and even the synovial membranes. All these structures, they help to bind the two bone ends at the joints. And another function of Shleshaka Kapha is lubrication of the joint. For the smooth functioning of the joint, the lubrication is very, very important. The joints of the body are like the hinges. Suppose in the door hinge, if it's not well lubricated, if it's rusted and old, so what happens? It becomes difficult to open and close the door, and also while opening and closing it makes the creaky noise, isn't it? So what we do in that case, we just put some lubricating oil in the hinges so that the function becomes smooth and proper. Similarly, for our bodily joints, for the smooth action, the lubrication is very important, and this lubrication is provided by the synovial fluid, which is nothing but the Shleshaka Kapha. When the Shleshaka Kapha becomes decreased in the joints become dry, the bone ends start to rub to each other. The person will have painful joint, the painful movements, and also the creaky noise while walking. That's called as the cryptus. And also the area around the joint will become emaciated. The bones become more prominent and protruded because all the Kapha element will be reduced in the joint area, making the bone protrusion. On the other hand, if the Shleshaka Kapha increases in the joint, then it results in the excessive synovial fluid, which results in a joint effusion, the swollen joints, the painful, inflamed, swollen joints. So that's about the Shleshaka Kapha. The last one is the Tarpaka Kapha. It resides in the head region. The meaning of the Tarpaka or Tarpana is to nourish, to lubricate, to nourish. So by its cooling and oily properties, it nourishes and soothes all the indriyas, and it enables them to perform their specific functions. So Tarpaka Kapha, along with the Sadhaka Pitta. So one subtype of Pitta, the Sadhaka Pitta, is related with the processing of the emotions and proper functioning of the sense organs. So this Tarpaka Kapha, along with the Pranavata and the Sadhaka Pitta, it helps for the proper functioning of the sense organs, and also it lubricates the eye, nose, the mouth, and the ear in the head and neck area. So if the Tarpaka Kapha is low, then the person might suffer from some symptoms like dry eye syndrome, where the eye becomes all dry and burning sensation, then the dry mouth or the dryness in the ear, etc. And if the Tarpaka Kapha becomes excess, then the person might feel the excessive watering of the eyes or the excessive salivation, etc. So, but when the Tarpaka Kapha is in a normal state, it helps for the proper functioning of the sense organs, and also it soothes and nourishes the brain and the sense organs. So, this is about the 5 subtypes of Kapha, their functions and their locations. Then we'll see the general causes for kapha imbalance. They can be divided into two categories like ahara and vihara. Ahara is the food habits which cause the imbalance of kapha, and viharas are the lifestyles or the activities of the person which causes the imbalance of kapha. So excessive intake of sweet, sour and salty food items, because we know that the kapha has the property of sweet and salty. So if we take these rasas, these states in excessive quantity, that will cause the imbalance of kapha. And also excessive dairy products like milk, yogurt, etc. will cause the imbalance of kapha. Very cold and heavy food items, the stale and frozen food items, the continuously when we cook too much and put it in the freezer, and all the time if we are eating the frozen foods or the processed food or even the stale foods, then that will cause the imbalance of kapha. And also oily food stuff, all these excessive intakes, the food habits will cause the imbalance of kapha. Similarly, the activities of the viharas like sleeping during the daytime, that is called as the divasvapna, being very lethargic, or even the lack of exercise, because kapha is the most stable. They don't want to move too much. They want to stick on to the sedentary lifestyle. They want to sit and relax. They usually don't want to exercise, but by doing that, kapha will still increase, and then it can cause the various disorders in the body. So according to Ayurveda, both sleeping during the day and awakening in the night is considered as harmful to the body. So if you keep awake in the night, then that causes the aggravation of vata. Similarly, sleeping during the daytime will cause the aggravation of the kapha. So some of these viharas can lead to imbalance of the kapha doshas. It's just the same when you indulge with the aharas or the viharas which have the same qualities of kapha, that will cause the imbalance of the kapha. General protocol for the kapha imbalance. So just consider the theory of similar and dissimilar, the samanya and the vishesha. So this you will come across several times even in the Chikitsa module, or even when you go to the Dravya, herbology module. So just remember the theory of similar and dissimilar. The similar causes the increase and dissimilar causes the decrease of the factors in the body. So avoid excessive sweet and sour food stuffs. Use warm food and drinks, because the kapha has the property of cold. So try to use the warm food and drinks. Keep the body warm. Avoid dairy, stale, frozen food items, the oily food items, etc. Try to adopt a more active lifestyle. Implement some of the exercises which can be tolerated by the person, and avoid day sleeping and avoid sedentary lifestyle. And some kapha pacifying spices like trikatu. Trikatu is like a combination of three spices like the pepper, the long pepper, and the dry ginger. It can be used, or even some other spices like cumin or mustard, hing, etc. They are like hot in potency, and those can be used to correct the kapha imbalance. Then there's a Ojas. We'll look at the Ojas in brief. It is said that Ojahatu Tejo Dhatunam Shukrantanam Param Smratam. This sutra is taken from the Ashtanga Hridaya Sutra Sthana, 11th chapter, and it says that Ojas is the ultimate essence derived from all the 7 dhatus, starting from rasa to shukra. So if you remember the 7 dhatus, the rasa, rakta, mamsa, meda, asti, majja and shukra. And this ojas is considered as the essence of all these 7 dhatus, starting from rasa to shukra. Now what are these dhatus? Dhatus are nothing but the structural manifestations of the kapha. They are nothing but the manifestations of the kapha. Hence, ojas is considered as the essence of Kapha. This is like proving LHS is equal to RHS, like that when we solve the math equation. So the Ojas is the essence of Dhatus, and Dhatu is nothing but the manifestation of Kapha. Hence, Ojas is considered as the essence of Kapha. This is the finest, the purest, most potent form of the Kapha. So similarly, the essence of the Vata is considered as the Prana, or the essence of the Pitta is considered as the Tejas. So Prana, Tejas and Ojas, these three are the important factors we look in a person when we are examining a client. So along with the dosha imbalances, we will be looking at the Agni and also these three important factors, the Prana, Ojas and Tejas. So Ojas is the essence of Kapha. So if we take the transformation of milk into ghee, so that's exactly how we can explain the formation of Ojas. So when we take the milk, when we make it into a curd, then churn it, get the butter, and when we heat the butter, we get the ghee. Ghee is considered as the essence of milk. It is considered as the purest form, the most potent form of the milk. Similarly, Miss Ojas is considered as the most purest or potent form of the Kapha. So Ojas is the strength which protects and maintains the body. In Ayurveda, it's said that Yannashe niyatam nasho yasmin tishtati tishtati. That means that when the Ojas is destroyed, when the Ojas is affected badly, it harms the life of a person. So sometimes it is even compared with the immune system of the body. So that's what exactly happens in the acquired autoimmune disease, which is called AIDS. So in AIDS, the Ojas is badly affected and in such a way that it costs the life of a person. That is what told in Ayurveda. When the Ojas is destroyed, when the Ojas is affected badly, it harms the life of a person. That's exactly what we see in the the acquired autoimmune disease. So the Ojas is the immune system of the body. If the Ojas is in a very good level, the person's health will be maintained very well. So that's about the Ojas. To conclude, the Kapha is the bioenergy of cohesiveness. It is the binding factor which maintains the integrity of the body. It gives the compactness to the body. In its normal state, it is considered as the bala or the strength of a person, both the work doing capacity and also the immune mechanism of the person. The essence of Prakrita Kapha is also called as Ojas, which protects the body against the disease and the decay. And the Prakrita Kapha, along with other two bioenergies, that's the Vata and Pitta, it maintains the existence of life. That's all about the Kapha. Then to speak the assignments, read about the Kapha and its subtypes, and if you have any doubts, any questions, please post it on the forum. Then do the Tridosha quiz. It will be open later when we post the class recording. We'll open the quizzes too, and then start working on the case study form. In the next 1 hour session, Dr. Monica, she will discuss about the case study form, how you have to look and how you have to fill out the forms. You start working on that. You have to submit at least 2 case studies before the completion of the course. So please start working on the case study forms and try to identify the type of subdoshas involved in your case study based on the signs and symptoms. And if possible, make an attempt to analyze the interplay of the doshas. Just to give an idea, interplay means if the digestion is affected, it can be because of the Samanavata, or it can be because of the Pachaka Pitta or Kedaka Kapha, or it can be because of the imbalance of all three. Just try to make a guesswork or try to analyze such type of interplay of the doshas in your case study. So that's about the assignments. And also those who have not done the Pitta quiz, please try to finish it by 12th June. So, and that's all for now, and now I'll hand over the control to Dr. Monica. Thank you.
All right. Everything you've done till now, we've done Pitta and its subtypes, we've done Vata and its subtypes, we've talked about Agni, and today we have talked about Kapha, right? So now everything that you've learned, how are you going to apply it? We can do two things. You do a quiz and you answer questions, but are you able to apply everything that you've learned to an actual person who has some symptoms? Because when somebody walks in and they're telling you, you know, I'm anemic, you should know how that translates into a subdosha of Pitta. You automatically know that, you know, Ranjak Pitta is affected, or you know that, you know, somebody has lack of digestive enzymes and they've been taking digestive enzymes, you know that their Pachaka Pitta is low. And so we expect you to do this case study form for two people. The first person you will do it is for yourself. Very easy. It's in an Adobe format. So if you have Adobe, the latest version of Adobe, you can actually use Adobe to fill this up, or you can print it out and you can actually fill it up and upload it online, whatever you want to do. So I would like to start off with very, very quickly kind of review subdoshas of Kapha and just go very quickly over Prana, Tejas, Ojas. Here we go. So if somebody comes to you and they say they're salivating excessively, you automatically know, you know, Bodha Kapha is the saliva, so you know that there is some excessive Bodha Kapha happening here. Or someone comes to you and their symptom is they have a dry mouth and they get dehydrated very quickly. So we know the water element is missing from their body and they actually have low Bodha Kapha. You know, and if somebody has, you know, their joints are popping a lot and they don't have enough lubrication on their joints, and you know the synovial fluid is affected, that is Shlesha Kapha. So like this, we know that. Now, Tarpa Kapha can also be related to back pain, except that, you know, you need to go even deeper, but just to give you an example, because it is the cerebrospinal fluid. For example, if someone has MS and they have lesions, it's not only to do with Majja Dhatu, but it can also be related to Tarpa Kapha. But we don't really expect you to go that deep. If you can translate somebody's symptoms into subdoshas of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, we are pretty happy with that. And that's it pretty much. So very, very quick review. Prana is the chi in the body, the life force. It is, so there's two things. We say prana is one of the subvatas, but prana is also your life. So if life is gone, everything is gone. So which is why we do yoga and we do pranayama. It is to increase prana. So if somebody has chronic fatigue, somebody says, when I get up in the morning, I still have fatigue. So if you look at your tongue and they have toxins in their body, that can also cause chronic fatigue. But if, you know, if they're fine, they're healthy, but they're still tired, then we say the prana is low. Also, if a person has, you know, it is also related with low immunity, they get sick a lot. They easily fall sick. So you say the chi in the body is low, the prana is low. And usually when prana is low, it's also related to ojas and tejas. So if you have, let me make a whiteboard here. Alrighty. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to make a drawing here. So if you have a human being, you have the physical body. Please pardon my drawing here. And you also have an energetic body or astral body, or in Sanskrit we call it Sukshma Sharir, right? So Ayurveda is not just considering this physical body, but this is your physical body. But it's also taking into account your energetic body. So if your energetic body, if your physical body has Kapha, Pitta, and Vata, this Kapha, Pitta, Vata must be also in your energetic body, yes or no? If Kapha, Pitta, Vata, the three doshas are in our physical body, they must also be in our energetic body, in our astral body, you know. Why? Because our energetic body is attached to our physical body. We are one and the same. So if it's physically present, so think of it this way. This is not like, this is my way of making you understand this. And I'm sure there's other explanations too. But Kapha is present as what? Physical body. And then you have your energetic body here, right? So Kapha is present as Ojas in the physical body as well as the energetic body. Does that make sense? Because energetic body is made of energy. You cannot have, so just like Kapha gives cohesion and structure to the physical body, the energetic body is also held together with Ojas. But it's coming from, so Ojas is both an energetic force, but it's also physical. In fact, we've heard it described as a metaphysical or antimatter. Antimatter or metaphysical, which is somewhere not, because it is also energetic, but it's also physical. So it's almost like an antimatter. And if you read physics, they talk about antimatter. So it's almost like this antimatter. It's a very, very subtle thing. You can't really see Ojas in the energetic body, but you can feel it. It's somebody's immunity, it's somebody's stability, it's somebody's ability to withstand. You know people, they just don't get sick. They're as strong as a horse. It means they have a strong Ojas, and they may not be very masculine. They can be frail and dainty and still be strong. Or inner strength, where is that coming from? That's all coming from Ojas. So Kapha physically is present in the physical body, giving structure, also present in the energetic body as Ojas. But this Ojas is also present in physical body. So this is present in both. Does that make any sense? So Dr. Sana gave example of milk and ghee. So if you were to take milk and you were to boil it and churn it and make it into a cream, then make it into a butter, then warm the butter and take the milk residue away, what's left is ghee. So ghee is a subtle essence of Kapha, the subtle essence of milk. So Ojas is a subtle essence of Kapha. Let's move to Pitta. Pitta is present in the physical body as what? So Pitta is the energy of transformation. So it's partly energetic anyway, but Pitta is also yellow in color. So if somebody has acidity or acid reflux, or they've too much production of bile, yellow colored eyes, their tongue will be yellow. So the color of Pitta is yellow, and the digestive enzymes that the body is producing is actually Pitta. So it has a physical form in the physical body. But in the energetic body, it is present as Tejas. It does not have any physical form. It's completely energetic. It's the same energy of transformation. Tejas is Pitta, but it's a subtle form of Pitta. But it's present in the energetic body. So if you see, a pregnant woman and you say, oh my God, she's glowing. Or you see a new bride, she's getting married and then she's glowing from inside. What is that glow? I mean, besides makeup. That is usually Tejas, the happiness that they're exuding, the effulgence. Also, if you see spiritual people who are highly spiritual, who do a lot of meditation, they look very young and they exude this effulgent energy from inside them. And if you see, and if you go to church and you see all these murals of angels and spiritual masters, you will see they have a halo around the head. The halo around the head is nothing but Tejas. It's that, pure energy exuding out of a person. I don't really know if they had a halo around the head, but probably the halo around the head meant that they were shining from within. Does that make any sense? So, yeah. So Vata is an energy. It's just air, Even in the physical body, Vata is air. So when we are breathing in, so the only physical form that I can talk about is when you're breathing in air, everything that we are taking in, including oxygen, and we are letting out carbon dioxide. So that carbon dioxide and oxygen is all Vata. And also the voluntary and involuntary function of the body. Muscles are contracting, your cardiac muscles are working by themselves. From the time we take birth till the time we die, they just work. The heart never stops working. The energy that is making it work is the Vata energy. The same Vata is present in the energetic body and the physical body. In the energetic body, it is present as prana or chi. So prana is, think of it as originating as in your heart, because that's where the soul is, and it goes into the head and it um, goes around the energetic body. So kapha, pitta, vata are present as prana, ojas, tejas in the energetic body. Doesn't make any sense? So this is the explanation that my guru gave me. So it is not 100% I can say that everybody will say. Maybe if you go to another Ayurvedic doctor or Ayurvedic Vaidya, they might say. With Ayurveda, there's always, there's different opinions. But I think this is a good way of explaining it. But that doesn't mean that prana does not exist in the physical body. Of course it does. The whole respiratory system is prana, because the minute you're breathing in and breathing out, and the whole function of lungs, the air inside it, it's the prana that is circulating there. Also, the oxygenation of blood. The oxygen in the blood is prana, if you think about it. Ojas is also literally and figuratively in the physical body. It's supposed to be, we sometimes call it the juice of immunity. So when Ojas is low, a person has low immunity, they get infections easily. So this Ojas, you will know, a person has a pallor about them. They don't have any, what is the French word? Joie de vivre. Let me see if I know. So the French word for this would be joie de vivre. Someone, yes, joy of life. And so when they don't have enough prana or tejas and ojas, it's like there is no rasa. There is no taste of life in their heart, and everything is low. So they might be physically, they might have lost weight, or so usually if prana is low, chances are tejas and ojas are also effective, because these are more energetic, right? So let's go and look at this. What are the symptoms when prana is low? Chronic fatigue, but please be careful. Chronic fatigue can also take place when person has ama, so undigested food molecules in the body. So if you look at someone's tongue, and if it has a very heavy coating, the tongue is heavily coated, then they have toxins. I'm not talking about coating after having meal. I mean, as soon as they wake up in the morning and they brush their teeth and they still have heavy coating, that it can also cause fatigue. And that is not because of low prana. That is probably because of ama. So we have to be careful. And then usually if someone has ama, their prana can also go low. And they wake up in the morning, they've even had 8 hours or 9 hours of sleep. They're still tired. That's very typical prana. And that's also a very typical symptom of toxins in the body. So we have to be careful again. Look at the tongue. Low energy. So again, it's a symptom of prana. It's also symptoms of toxins. There's no energy. There's just no energy. And not just energy to do something physically, but something also mental. No, I just don't feel like reading a book. Like I said, no joie de vivre, no joy of life. They might get migraine headaches and tension headaches, lack of clarity, sometimes weight loss, low libido. Usually when a person has ama, these symptoms will also come. But with ama also, it's possible there's a lot of constipation. So lack of prana, it's not necessarily constipation, but with ama, there's definitely constipation. So when you have ama, now ama are not toxins per se, but they're the cause of those free radicals and toxins. So when you have ama, these are the same symptoms, and when you have prana is low, same symptoms. Only with ama, it is accompanied by really bad digestion. So if a person's digestion is fine and their tongue is not coated and they still have these symptoms, then we say lack of prana. So what is the thing that you would do? We've got 2 yoga teachers here to increase prana. So if you've heard, number 1, to increase immunity, increase prana, is pranayama, breathing exercises. Especially early in the morning when the oxygen is high, doing those breathing exercises. But you don't want to hyperventilate a person. Don't force them to do. I've seen yoga teachers in India, they really force you to do 100 breaths. You always want to start with maybe 15 or 20 breaths. So alom vilom, nadi shodhana, alternate breathing, bhastrika, kapal bhati, whatever you want to do. you do these kriyas, brahmaris, all these breathing exercises, shitali, they will bring down, increase immunity, increase prana. But you always start slow. Ideally, maybe early in the morning when oxygen is a bit more. It doesn't have to be outside. Even inside the house, just open a window just for a few minutes, and the place fills with oxygen. Or near an ocean, so or in a garden, especially where there are a lot of plants. So doing it in a garden, very good. But ideally, you don't want to do pranayama inside the studio. No, because people are breathing in. It's closed. There are no windows. Even if you're indoors, please open the window. Please have some nice plants because the oxygen is coming from the plants. So I still don't understand why we practice pranayama in a studio in this country. But prana comes oxygen. It has to be outside. It is coming from the plants. What else? Do we need to eat something, eat a diet which is high in prana as well? Absolutely fantastic. Diet rich in prana. So plant-based diet, food that is not dead. So all non-vegetarian food, meat is dead. Aren't they dead bodies of an animal? So it doesn't have any prana in it. It's dead. Living foods. Living foods will increase immunity, will increase prana. When I say living foods, I don't mean raw foods only. I don't just mean fruits and vegetables. I just mean that they are fresh and they're organic and they're local and they're right for your dosha, living foods. So if the food was processed, if the food was frozen, microwaved, even if it's organic food, what else can you, how else can you? Microwaving is like giving chemotherapy to the food. Frozen, microwaved, processed, fried heavily. Stir fried for a little while is okay. Or if the food is not al dente. Do you know what al dente is, right? Like when you cook your vegetables, they should be more al dente. Al dente means that you should feel the bite in the vegetables. It should not be so, unless a person has a bad digestion, it should not be al dente. It should be more very, very soft and easy. But normally a good vegetable which still retains its prana, living foods, it should be al dente, meaning it should have a bite. Now, if you go to India, in India we'll cook the food. I always tell my mother, you kill the prana, you kill the dead. It's what you're serving is dead body. They will, especially northern India, Punjabis, where we are from, they will really take the food and just kill it. So if you want to preserve the prana, food should be vegetarian and plant-based. It has to be a plant-based diet is full of prana. Why? Plants are making their own food. They're getting, by the process of photosynthesis, they're making, and use of chlorophyll in the plant. That is full of prana. And then plants are full of nutrients and enzymes that are amazing, and they're full of prana again. Living foods, living herbs, fruits, vegetables, they're full of prana. But of course, it has to be according to our dosha. Does it make sense? So you will do pranayama and give a plant-based diet. And this plant cannot be frozen or microwaved or processed or even genetically modified. Very hard to get. These do not have any prana. Okay, genetically modified might have prana in it, but it's not natural. So what is not natural is not good. Even about the same thing when we are talking about Ayurvedic herbs, we would rather take an Ayurvedic herb which is a whole plant, and we don't believe in processing the herb so much unless the processing saves the whole plant. So that's another, whole Ayurvedic herbs is a big, big, big topic. So when we are talking specifically about, I've known so many people, someone in their family got cancer or post-cancer. They start juicing, they become vegetarian, and their health actually gets pretty good. And some of them, I've known people post-cancer that their health is better than what it was before cancer, because they've completely done a 360 and changed their lifestyle. So plant-based diet, full of prana, doing this will really, really help increase fatigue. And another, what is one of the reasons the prana will become low in this day and age? Why do you think? What causes the prana to become low? Okay, that's pretty good. Somebody said fast food. I'm just going to write it here. Fast food, no sleep, no exercise. So fast food will cause ama, which will cause low prana, no sleep, no exercise. Eating the wrong foods, which I would. What about stress? Would stress cause this? Absolutely. One of the top reasons, 8 out of 10 Americans, I'm not talking about older people, I'm talking about regular people, go to a doctor because they're so stressed out, and all the problems can go back root cause stress hormones. So you have serotonin, you have cortisol, it's all stress hormones. And eating a plant-based diet and doing pranayama and doing something like gentle yoga along with your regular exercise will increase prana. Why is yoga better than any other form of exercise? Even Tai Chi is better because, it works with your breath. It works with your prana, and it helps to even massage your internal organs, which conventional exercise does not. But of course, you add on yoga to conventional exercise. You don't stop doing conventional exercise. So stress hormones would probably be the cause of low prana as well, along with bad diet and lack of sleep, no exercise. Even for vata person, when prana is low, it could also be, so there's some infection or post surgery. They've had surgery, the prana becomes low after surgery. So all of these things will decrease prana. Any other questions? Should I just repeat all of this once? So symptoms of prana is chronic fatigue, waking up tired, low energy, headaches, lack of clarity, sometimes weight loss, low libido, and it's similar to the symptoms of ama or toxins. But when prana is low, a person is prone to a lot of infections and they have low immunity. When someone has ama, same symptoms, but they also have chances of having a really bad digestion and they have constipation. So someone has a question. You want to ask your question? You can type in your question. I'll answer it. Okay. And we said some of the causes of low prana is fast food, no sleep, no exercise, stress hormones, post-surgery, even something of traumatic experience like someone has died in the family, divorce, all of these, well, all of this will lead to stress. Any emotional trauma can also lead to low prana. So we have a question here. Constipation is because of ama. Is ama a cause of constipation? Okay. Let me make it clear on a whiteboard. Hang on. Here we see this. You see this? So if someone's Agni is low, for example, it's a Kapha person, their Agni is low, and they're eating food, and then, even they haven't digested their food, but they still keep on eating more food, even if it's good food, even if it's good for their dosha. But they're overeating. Their body cannot digest as much food as they're eating because they have low Agni. That can lead to ama. And they will mostly have constipation, or they will have one bowel movement every 2 days, but it'll be a very oily. So that's a kapha type of ama. If the agni is usually low or it's variable, like in a vata person, then this ama will usually end up in chronic constipation also. When the agni is high, then usually it's more malabsorption case, then it's not so much ama, it's just, so we'll take the high agni out of the equation here. We are right now only concerned when someone has low agni or variable agni. If the agni or digestive fire is low or it's variable, for example, somebody has IBS, then chances of them getting ama, and ama, yes, can cause constipation. It can be both way around, to answer your question. So when you go in block 2 and you're studying this in detail, so this is not just a linear thing, okay? This is not, Western. There are so many factors at every step. whether it's Agni or Dhatus. What we are teaching you in this block is very basic. I mean, really, this is a very, 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 very basic course. And what happens here is people are expecting, because we are not trying to make you doctors, we're just trying to introduce you to a very, very basic concept of Ayurveda. And one of the most important things, yes, but within the, when person has Pitta kind of ama, it's because of Pitta ama. But we are talking specifically about constipation. So when someone has constipation, that can cause ama. Even if somebody does not have constipation, so it's the other way around. Ama can cause constipation, and constipation can also cause ama. I don't know if that will make sense. So what is ama? Please read it. Ama is undigested food particles. Ama is nothing but it's undigested food particles. And why are they undigested? Because many reasons. Because the Agni was low, Agni was high, Agni was variable, you ate too much, you ate oily food, or you're lactose intolerant. So even if it's organic food, that can also become ama. Ama in the body eventually gives rise to toxins. So this is just one symptom. There can be so many symptoms. Like I mentioned, there could be chronic fatigue. There's a coating on the tongue. So when you go in block 2, you will see that there's 3 kinds of ama. There's Vata ama, Pitta ama, and Kapha ama. But in the scope of the course, that in block 1, we are only concerned with ama that is caused because of Kapha, because of oily food. So you will learn about different kinds of ama, and for example, Dr. Sahana just mentioned high Agni can burn and char the food, and that is considered ama. So we call it Pitta ama, but that is not part of this course. We are mostly concerned with Kapha ama. So if someone is having a lot of oily food or processed food, lots of milk, dairy, wheat, that can lead to Kapha ama. We are mostly concerned with the Kapha ama. So as you go forward, you will learn more about different kinds of ama. All right, let's move on. So to recap very, very quickly, pranayama, living food, plant-based diet, all of this will help prana. Whatever will help prana will automatically help ojas and tejas. As simple as that. So tejas is the essence of pitta. We talked about it. And how do you know when tejas is low? There's lack of luster in the skin, dry or oily skin, drooping or reddish eyes, eczema. But these are also symptoms of Bhrajak Pitta. These are also symptoms of Bhrajak Pitta. Mostly you know tejas is low when prana is low. So prana, tejas, ojas usually always go hand in hand. Does that make any sense? If prana, tejas, ojas will go hand in hand because all of these symptoms are also symptoms of Bhrajak Pitta. So how do you know this is a tejas issue? Because usually a person will have lots of bowel movements. They probably have malabsorption, pitta ama. Their tongue is a little bit yellow. Their eyes are drooping. You know, the whole prana is also low when tejas is low. It's almost like we talked about the joie, the vivre. There's no happiness and there's no effulgence coming from inside. I don't know how to explain it. It's a very energetic thing. You feel the energy of a person here. So this is a physical symptom, but tejas is all energetic. Again, the protocol for tejas is same as prana because prana, tejas, and ojas go hand in hand. They are all in your physical body as well as your energetic body. So tejas is usually high when accompanied by good agni. Actually, this high agni is not right. Good agni, not high agni, good agni. So usually or tejas can go high with pitta people as well. So we are only concerned in this course is tejas is low when the prana is low. So usually when prana is low, tejas is low, you can give some grounding vegetables, that grow on earth. That's pretty good. Grounding vegetables are good. And also all the things, pranayama will also help. All of this will also help. So ojas I'm not going to go through because Dr. Sahara did that in a lot of detail. So ojas, like I said, it's the juice of immunity. It's the subtle essence of Kapha. So in Ayurveda, when someone has had surgery or they're doing detox therapies, we ask them to be celibate and we say you cannot be intimate because every time they release shukra or semen, they are releasing ojas. I don't know if that makes sense. Ojas is your shukra. Ojas is, so we believe in Ayurveda that every time a person is becoming intimate and releasing semen and they're actually, their immunity is going down. So when a person has had surgery or even a new mother, she's nursing, they will not, we would say that please uh, uh, practice abstinence and be celibate for at least 40 days or 50 days till your body recovers its ojas. So when ojas is low, again immunity is low. Ojas is low, immunity is low. That's the easiest thing. When ojas is low, prana is also low. Very simple. And what are the health things that if somebody's immunity is low, prana is low? You give them ghee. I'm going to write this down. Ghee, dates, figs. These things will increase ojas. Milk. And we are talking about not your regular milk, but organic milk, which is non-homogenized, and which kind of milk? Only cow's milk. Not buffalo milk or not goat milk, only cow's milk. All of this will increase ojas. But if someone has ama, you don't want to give these things. So you have to be sure that they don't have any coating on the tongue. Now, very quickly, to balance pran, tejas and ojas, food should be fresh, warm, cooked, but it should be al dente. It should not be cooked till it's completely, the nourishment is gone. It should be easy to digest. Food should be unprocessed, non-GMO and organic. Of course, it's hard to do all of these things. Even if you could do 5% or 10%, you're making a difference. Ayurveda does not believe in small meals every 2 hours because that disturbs the agni of the body. If the body is following the cycle of the sun, then we cannot eat every 2 hours. So at least 3 hours difference between 2 meals. Avoid eating too many items in one meal. And the items taken in one meal should not be contradicting one another. For example, you cannot eat milk with fruits because milk is alkaline and fruits are acidic. So you cannot do that. Milk and fruits are a no-no. You cannot do that. So these are some, if you go to, here we go. If someone feels tired or heaviness in stomach after eating, that means they're overeating or they're eating the wrong food. So this is one of the questions we ask. Do you feel heavy after eating? If they are, there's something wrong in the way we are eating or we're eating the wrong foods. And this is so important, but everybody is doing this. Avoid eating while watching television or reading or on the go. It disturbs the agni. When someone is eating on the go, it disturbs the agni, doesn't it? But people are eating in front of television, they're eating in their car, they're doing a drive-in. I just don't understand the concept of drive-in, taking food and eating on the go. That is not eating. It's mind is not perceiving it. It's almost like empty calories. You have to eat in peaceful and pleasant surroundings for food to digest. Well, here we are saying avoid drinking water 1 hour before, but I would say maybe 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after the meals. Please remember, Ayurvedic meals always have a soup. So you are getting water in the soup. So I've had people say, but what, you will get dehydrated. But Ayurvedic meal always has a soup. There's always water, like a hot water. Soup is just hot water. Dal has got, watery. Everything is, usually watery. Except if you're a Kapha person, it's not so watery. But for Vata person and Pitta person, you must have a soup. You must have a dal or a soup. So you are getting water through that. Also, you can sip a small amount of water. And 30 minutes before a meal, you can have an appetizer like a rasam. Dr. Sahana makes a really good rasam. You should ask her for the recipe. It's an appetizer drink which is a little sour. It helps in production of digestive enzymes. It's really tasty. If you go to a South Indian restaurant, they serve it with papadums, rasam or lassi. I'm not talking about mango lassi here, but lassi which is more salty. So all of these things will help. Any questions about, balancing and this eating? If not, I'm going to go into the block 1 form. Okay. So like I said, first person you're going to fill this. So go and refer to your books when you're filling this form. You are not, we're not expecting you to be experts here. And this is, 40% of your assignment is these 2 case study forms. And the reason being is there's no right or wrong answer. We are not grading you on this. We just want to make sure that you're able to apply the knowledge that we have given you. You're able to look at the books and the presentations that we have given you and come back here and apply it. So, Angel, do you want to be my patient today? I'll just explain. So obviously we don't put the names because your case studies, eventually some of the best case studies are shared with other students. So do not put, you put the name as anonymous. But write your, if your batch number and, whatever your batch 10, I think. So your batch 10 and your username we ask you to write. Otherwise we don't know who you are. We need you to write your username and your name, whose case study it is. Of course, we want to know if the person is a male or a female. So let's say we are doing a person, a 49-year-old woman. So of course she's female. What is her Ayurvedic age? A person from age infant till age 12 is a Kapha, or Pitta is from about 12 to 48. And then it's a Vata age. So this lady is 49 years old, so she's somewhere in the Pitta Vata age, right? That means because she's in the Vata age, she's 49 years old. That means that just by being 49, Vata energy is dominant in her simply because she is in that age. Then you do the dosha test. You have all these dosha forms with you. You can even go online and download dosha forms. You can use any dosha form, I don't care. And do the Prakruti. Only the Prakriti, finding out the Vata, Pitta and Kapha numbers. And when you do the Prakriti form, let's say you find this 49-year-old lady is V2P3K1. That means her dominant dosha is Pitta and then she's Vata. Her Pitta and Vata are pretty close and she doesn't have much of Kapha. So because she's 49, she's perimenopausal. Now we don't have anything about perimenopausal in this form, but still we automatically know by this age that she's perimenopausal. And when a woman is perimenopausal, whatever her original dosha is, that will increase, plus Pitta will increase because it's heating. So her Pitta, you already know even before you go and do it. If it's a Kapha woman and she's perimenopausal, her original dosha, Kapha will increase and Pitta will increase. So there's an imbalance of hormones happening even before you do the Vikruti. So already we know because of the age, without doing any test, that for this lady, her Pitta is high because she's perimenopausal, and her, Vata would also be a little high because she's very close to Vata Pitta. And Vata, when Vata is high, usually in women, when Vata is high in perimenopause, they get constipated, plus they have hot flashes, and they get really nervous. But this lady is already a Pitta, so she must be getting a lot of Agni issues. Even without asking her any questions, you know she has high Agni. So you can ask her questions, and if she tells you, she'll probably tell you, I am having hot flashes, and she could have, variable Agni. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's not. Because this is just a sample. Let's say this lady has very high Agni. She's like an incubator. She gets these hot flashes. And here, maybe her skin has become really, really oily or something is happening here because she has high Agni. Again, this is a sample. I just made it up. And then you start asking her questions. And this is exactly how you fill the form. You can take Adobe Reader and fill it like this and save it, because Adobe allows you to do these annotations in it. And then you ask questions. You look at this person, this lady, does she have any skin complexion issues? Yes, she has this redness in her skin, and It's red. It's maybe she has some acne there, and her skin looks as if she has a little bit of rosacea there. So you know that her Bhajak Pitta is out of balance. And then she tells you my eyes have been sensitive. So let's say visual perception. She says I've had acidity and acid reflux. So that means her Pachak Pitta, too much digestive enzymes. And she says I'm not able to govern my emotions. I cannot digest a lot of things that are happening in my life. So maybe this lack of clarity is Sadak Pitta. So look at this. You have 1 issue, 2 issue, 3 issue, and 4 issues in subdoshas. So our Vikruti is gone up, isn't it? So this is confirmed. Her Vikruti is now, let me write this down for you. Her Vikruti for Pitta is P4 because there are 4 points up there and it's 4 points high. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can only go up high up to 4. So 4 is pretty high. Her Pitta is very high. Let's see what's happening with her Vata. If this lady tells you, oh, I have low energy, I have lack of clarity, fatigue, feeling tired, and you look at her tongue, maybe her tongue is a little yellow, so much energy, maybe some ama going on there, and maybe she doesn't have any blood pressure issues or blood circulation issues, but she tells you that I'm unable to form intimate relationships. So that's an energetic thing. So that is Vyana Vata. And then she tells you, maybe she's talking too much. Maybe she has 3 or 4 or 5 bowel movements. And also she tells you that, her menstrual fluid is, 1 month she's getting her periods for 10 days and then she hasn't had a period for 3 months. So she has this irregular periods going on. So Apana Vata. So look at this. 1, 2, 3. So Vata is also high. So Vata has gone from V2 to V3. And you don't have to write numbers. You can just use an arrow. I'm happy with an arrow because arrow tells me what's happening here, right? When we look at her Kapha, maybe she tells you that her mouth is dry. So low bodha, Kapha is low. She's telling you that her mouth is dry. She's telling you she feels a little dehydrated, right? So Kapha has gone down a little bit. So here we go. Kapha is going down. So if you look at this, so look at this. What is happening here? As you didn't have to do a separate Vikruti chart. Just by doing this, you found out a Vikruti here. Dosha Vikruti you found out. We see that Vata has gone up, Pitta has gone a lot up, and Kapha has gone down. Does that make any sense? Vata has gone up, Pitta has gone a lot high, and Kapha has gone a little bit down. So this is all we expect you to do. So K would be, no, K can never be 0. It's still 1, but we can write it maybe 0.5. Here we go. So K has gone from 1 to 0.5. P3 has gone up to T4. Remember that, I don't even like writing 5. I like to write just go from 1 to, because the number kind of goes from 1 through 5. There are 2 or 3 ways of finding out and doing the Vikruti. Because there are many kinds of Vikruti or many kind of problems that can happen. Here we are talking about the Subdosha Vikruti only. So the numbers are from 1 through 4 for Vikruti. So Vata Kapha is already pretty low. It's 1. It's still low. This is why I like to use arrows. If you put an arrow there, you know if it's going up or high. So you can use arrow, no problem. So if it's high, let the arrow go up. If it's down, let the arrow go down. Okay. So now we know what is happening. All we need, we don't need the protocol. That is completely, you know, if you can do it, that's amazing. But you just have to write at the end, the case study had Pitta dominance and a Vata dominance. So some Pitta Vata issues are happening here. That's all we want you to do. So this is your case study. You don't have to do it, but almost all the students of all the previous batches have actually done protocols of whatever they could do. And since you've done the daily routine, maybe you could do, you know, for this lady who has a lot of high pitta. Actually, let's add something interesting. This perimenopausal pitta woman is doing hot yoga. She's doing hot yoga. She's eating red meat. So there you go. You have something that you can tell her not to do. So please do this for yourself and do it for one more person. Or you can do it for 2 other persons and you can upload it online. Next class, next 2 classes, 24th is your last class. You're going to present this case study in front of all of us. So please have your headset ready. And you can present this case study. So you can actually upload your case study or email it to us, no problem, you can do that. And then you will present this case study in front of the entire class. And those people who are not able to present their case study, they will just, you know, do it offline. But then you do it in front of the entire class, the teachers are here and they can give you feedback there and then. And other people also learn. So next class and the class after that, you'll be presenting. So you have to present only one case, either yourself or somebody else's. You don't need to know whose. Just present one case. Probably takes about 10 minutes. And if you have any questions about the case study, please put it on the forum. We actually log in every day and students don't put up questions, but teachers are here to help you. So we will try to help you with that. So 2 case studies and there you go. So this is a very basic, you know, everything that you've done. And since you're also doing on Wednesday morning, there's also yoga therapy classes happening. In the protocol, you can also, so protocol page you'll have to do separately, obviously. So in the protocol, you can give some yoga therapy protocol. You can, you know, suggest a daily routine. You don't have to worry about the diet. If you want to, that's fine. You don't have to worry about herbs. We are not really concerned so much with the protocol as much as you're able to, you know, do the right placement. Because when someone is coming to you, they're not saying my Brajak Pitta is out of balance or my Vyanavata is out of balance. They're saying that, you know, I have low blood pressure or I'm anemic or my eyes are sensitive. We have to take that symptom and apply it with whether this is a Pitta, Vata or Kapha issue. Okay? So there's not going to be any other assignment this week. Only Tadosha's quiz is going to go online. So your assignment is doing 2 case studies. And then we'll be discussing the case studies in next class, which is, let me tell you, that would be 17th of June and 24th of June. We are just discussing case studies. And case studies are a lot of fun as well because you're really now taking so the form is posted online. And so those of you who haven't done the Pitta quiz, please do the Pitta quiz. And there's a final to Dosha's quiz. June 24th is the last date. So you've got 2 weeks. June 24th. And we will be sending out, if anyone has not finished their assignments, we'll be sending out a reminder, please finish this. Alrighty. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please post them on the forum. Have a wonderful rest of the Sunday.